Are you ready?
Starting now?
Now you just messed it up, you knob. God, you know that the shit that we go through for this, huh?
I know. Fuckers better appreciate it. When we started, we were just like, yeah, we're just going to do this, man. You know, shoot our wad into the wind and see what happens. What's the title of this podcast again?
I don't know. I don't know. Something with a penis, I guess.
Right.
Our fucking faces are everywhere now.
Right.
You know, but
You're welcome, ladies.
Right. Popular with the ladies. Right. Oh, I'm not even going to apologize because hopefully it sounds fucking hilarious.
Yeah, totally. This is fucking explicit now.
The explicit button. Let me use my finger.
La, 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 la.
It is time for another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And that episode starts now. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to another episode of Sober, Not Mature. And it's the weekend of Christmas, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it is.
we brought everyone a present. So you know what it is?
It's us.
Yeah, it sure is. I figured you'd come up with it. If you didn't come up with that, I was going to be surprised. But yeah, so everyone out there in podcast listening land, Sober Not Mature listening land, Merry fucking Christmas. This is us.
Right.
Yeah, so
and a happy fucking New Year.
Yeah, filthy animals. Yeah, and by the way, I watched God, what Christmas movies? Oh, I watched Christmas Vacation already. That one I actually paid for years ago, so it's in my library.
Ooh.
Whatever it was, it was like 10 years ago probably that I spent
right.
$13 or $14 on it. And I watch it every year, so it's paid for itself,
Right.
And then we have Kimmy and I share Disney. I think it's through our Verizon account is where we get it. So
right.
I watched Home Alone 1. The next night I watched Home Alone 2.
Ooh.
And I watched Bad Santa. Have you seen Bad Santa?
Oh, yeah. I used to watch it. Well, when I was still drinking, I watched it every Christmas Eve.
Right. And it was it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I knew I knew all about the movie, and I've probably seen it at least 2 or 3 more times, But yeah, fucking laugh my ass off, man. It just he's a trip. He's a trip.
Yep.
But yeah, there was I don't know, it was another one I was going to watch. I can't remember. Oh, Scrooge is one that I watch every once in a while with Bill Murray, which cracks me up.
Right, and David Johansen.
Yeah.
The New York Dolls. That's right.
Is it really?
Yeah. He's the cab driver. He's the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Oh fuck! I didn't know that. Okay, I mean I know who he is, but I didn't know. Okay, right. I got you. Yeah.
Buster Poindexter for you kids out there. Yeah, kids, right?
Right. So who is the chick that is the almost like the Tinkerbell type of lady? I don't know what her.
Carol Kane.
Is okay. Yeah, she fucking cracks me up. That whole character cracks me up. The whole movie is funny, but yeah, so maybe that's one that I don't know. Well, if I get a chance between today and tomorrow, maybe I'll watch that. But yeah, anyhow.
I personally have not watched any Christmas movies because it's not fucking Christmas yet.
Well, and you know what? The thing of it is it didn't really have a plan. Like I need to watch these, but Christmas Vacation just popped into my head, and then I'm like, ooh, the Home Alone movies, and I don't know. It's just, I laugh my ass off at those every time. Again, I don't know how many fucking times I've seen it, but seeing Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci just get the shit beat out of them.
Right.
It's fucking hilarious. And it's the nut shots. It's
right.
Everything, all the nut shots fucking crack me
up. So you're saying that dick humor cracks you up.
Right. It does. It does. Yeah.
Our Instagram followers would never know that.
I know. Yeah. So from whatever it was, as old as I needed to be when I knew what dick humor is or was to 55 years old. Yeah. It
Uh-huh.
fucking cracks me up. So, I mean, we got a lot of shit to talk about.
We
Obviously, we've
do.
got the reading. We're going to talk about the 12 step because we haven't done that yet this month.
Right.
I have two kind of announcements. I'll wait till after the break. They're of list.
Mm.
Well, they're people who we've had on as guests that have a couple of
Mm-hmm.
things going on that I want to talk about, and then
That's what we
just
call in the biz a tease.
yeah, it is. Yeah, you fuckers got to hang out for a little while. So, because I was thinking about bringing all this shit up to begin with, and I'm like, no, the same way as we start our day, let's get this fucking reading out of the way and this fucking
Right.
step out of the way.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, we got
All
more
right.
shit too. So, okay.
We do always, constantly.
Yeah.
All
Always.
right. Yeah, this is Christmas. We'll talk about some gifts a little bit. This is November 29th. So however many days ago that was, about a month or so. Develop an interest in life. The world is so rich, simply throbbing with rich treasures, beautiful souls, and interesting people. Forget yourself. Henry Miller. He got to fuck Marilyn Monroe. Did I do this one already? Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if you did. If you did, you sure as fuck know I forgot about it. I could have read that
Right.
this morning. So no,
Right.
it's about gifts. So no, go ahead. I mean, it doesn't sound like super familiar to me, so I think we're good.
All right, cool. Many of us found that during our active addiction, our lives seemed to get smaller. We put our time and energy into alcohol or drugs, and hung around people, places, and things that supported our addiction. No wonder we got bored. Early in our recovery, we put most of our time and energy into learning how to stay sober. We need to practice putting the basics of recovery to work in our lives. Once we get the hang of living sober, we can develop other interests too, gifts. That is the great thing about being in recovery. It means that we can put some of our energy into enjoying hobbies and new experiences. We need only look at the old timers in our recovery groups. They have fun. Some love music or skiing or motorcycles. Others write stories, act, or design stage sets in community theaters. The world opens up to us when we are sober. Let's enjoy it. Prayer for the day. Higher power, help me to stretch and try new things. Help me to discover the things that bring me joy and help me get moving and go do them. Today's action. It has actions because this is a program of action. Today, I will list 10 things I like to do. I will circle the ones I have not done in the last 6 months. I will then list 10 new things I want to try. I will talk with my sponsor about both of my lists.
All right, so for the rest of the episode, we're gonna write down. grab your pens and paper, boys and girls.
Right.
But yeah, was that 10 things that we like to do and 10 things new things? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, and again, I suppose if we were new, one of our sponsors in our lives or one of the people would have said, "Hey, what are you willing to do?" And we would have sat down with a fucking pencil and paper and wrote down,
right,
all these fucking things. But
I'd have written down 5, and then well, that's about it, man. Because I'm fucking old and boring. But yes,
right, yeah, I don't like anything other than these 5 things. And
exactly.
as far as new things, I can't think of anything.
Right, here's 2 or 3.
Right, can they be sexual things? Because
They could be. Hey, they didn't specify.
All right, see, there we go. There's me manipulating the words of recovery. But hey, can they be sex things?
Right.
I'm sure I could think of 10 of those goddamn things. But anyhow,
I pepper in our diet. I read that somewhere once.
I wasn't sure where you were going with pepper because I was about to say what pepper what. All right, so anyhow, we both digress apparently. So
yes, we did.
And again, I don't know if you read that one anytime recently, but I mean, it's all good stuff, and especially it talks about the gifts and the things we get back. But the first thing before you enunciated the word throbbing, which I was muted at that time, and I laughed, and then
I know you did.
And you fucking asked me a question. I'm like, oh fuck! I'm sitting there, I'm kicked back, I'm having a sip of coffee, and I'm like, oh shit, mute button. But so the first thing though that I wrote down was interest in life. I think that was in that first opening paragraph. and
Right.
then our lives become smaller. Addiction,
Mm-hmm.
in addiction, we got bored.
Right.
Energy to do new experiences or to try new experiences, and
Mm-hmm.
then the last thing that I wrote down was the world opens up to us, which that's the one that I mean, no shit, but really,
Yeah.
the world does, because I think about that, back to getting bored, and our lives were smaller and all that stuff, and then everything opening up to us. But think about
Right.
that, and I just think about the last, I don't know, let's say the last even 7 or 8 months, because I'll
Mm-hmm.
before I got sober, and I went to work, and
Mm-hmm.
I saw Derek on like Thursday night, and then every other weekend. There's a buddy of mine that I'd hang out with and drink with every once in a while, but
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it was just then I sat home by myself and
Right.
fucking drank and
Yep.
stewed on everything, and I was just
Yep.
not only was my world small, my mind was small, and
Mm-hmm.
I was fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so these days for the last year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
I work remotely, so I don't even go to work, like
Right.
leave.
Mm-hmm.
I drive my car at a minimum probably twice a week, maybe 3 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, up to Wisconsin, this and that sort of thing. But I mean,
Right.
I still spend a lot of time by myself
Yeah.
technically, but
Yeah.
I mean, my world is not small anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you take in, yeah, social media is a fucking pain in the ass. No offense to all our followers. I love all you guys, but
Right.
it is. It's a lot of work, and I think anyone, even on a personal level, would admit that. So,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. But it's expanded this world and this sober universe to us, and then there's this, and then just having the chance of taking a drive up, like driving up to Wisconsin and back, or coming
Right.
back late at night because I can drive, or anything
Yeah.
like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it
Oh
just
yeah. Absolutely.
all of it.
Well, right. So Chris and I are laying on the beach this past week, right? And she leans over to me and she's all, "You remember our first date when you said you weren't much of a beach person?" And I said, "Yes, I'm glad that changed." I said, "Yeah, me too."
Right.
Right. Exactly. I wasn't. I wasn't a big fan of going and laying in the sand and getting sun and all that stuff. I fucking love it now.
Right.
I didn't like it because, anytime I did it before, there was drinking involved and I'd get all sweaty and drunk and stupid and
Right.
wasn't any fun. Guess what? Shit's fun again.
Right. And I'm the same way. I'm not really. I don't know that I've ever. Well, okay. Again, like where Kathy and Mark used to live when they were together, they
Hmm.
lived a few blocks off the beach, and they had the boat. And
Right.
we go down to the beach, in Lake Michigan, and we go out on the boat and that sort of thing. But it was a purpose, that we were doing that. We were down there, we were drinking and doing whatever. But Kathy used to always go down there. She'd just go down to the beach by herself, take the
Hmm.
dog. They had a German Shepherd Ziggy at the time. She would
Hmm.
take him down to the beach. She would just sit there and read.
Hmm.
And at that time I'm like kind of like, whatever the fuck you do, man. I don't know.
Right.
I was nothing against it. It just wasn't my thing.
Sure.
Or again, go back to that trip that I took. I'm
Hmm.
fucking running around chasing sunsets, and I'm going to see things, and I'm not a hiker, but I took a hike, and I would do it
Hmm.
again because I'm like, this shit is so fucking beautiful.
Right.
Um, where was I coming back from? Oh, when I came back from when I was down in Columbus, when I came back from there, and as the sun was going down on my way back, and
Hmm.
I'm on this kind of, because from the Columbus area getting back here, I purposely did it. I kind of took not back roads, but
Right.
back roadish, because I'm like, the same thing. Okay, that's another thing. I take different roads these days because I want to just see some
Mm.
shit. Um,
Right.
and there was this fucking killer sunset. The sun was down, but this glow on the horizon. And
Mm.
I'm trying to find some place. I get this fucking car behind me, this truck in front of me. I'm like, where can I pull over and take a fucking picture? I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
pull in there. I can't pull in there. But I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes, and finally I'm like, fuck it. Because
Right.
it started to get too dark. But
Hmm.
that was a goal of mine, to try to pull over
Right.
so I could take a
Yeah.
fucking picture.
Yeah. Yeah. Just fucking enjoy it, man. Fuck
Right.
the picture.
I
Yeah.
know.
Have it in your mind.
I know.
Right.
But even if I would have just been able to like stop and just staring at it, when I was in Beaver Dam, I did the
Hmm.
same thing. I propped the chair at the end of the driveway and looked at the cornfield and watched the sunset.
Right. Yeah.
But but yeah, so I mean, all of those little things as far as the world opening up. But I mean, when just going back to again the lives getting smaller and
Mm.
like you said, getting bored, and that is, I mean,
Yeah.
if there's nothing else to do, we just well, I guess we'll drink.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. Well, it, it was just, yes, we're going to drink and fuck. I mean, as much as we're chasing it and whatever, yeah, I mean, it did. When we really, especially with the distance we have now, we look back on it, it was fucking boring getting drunk every goddamn night. It was the same thing over and over and over again. And, I mean, it got to the point where we didn't have a fucking choice. We had to do it.
Right.
And it was goddamn boring.
Right. And a lot of fucking work too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to and like you talked about, and I know all of our friends that have talked about, and I mean all the guests that we've had on here that talk about
Hmm.
the amount of work. I mean, when people that were heavily in the drug use and trying to support
Right.
that habit and stuff like that. I mean,
Yep.
granted, I was going broke along with everyone else, but
Hmm.
at a little bit of a lower level because I wasn't spending the kind of money that some people did on obviously
Sure.
buying drugs, but
Right.
it's still work. And it just, I think back now, like
Huh?
you said the one time, enjoy the freedom, man. I mean,
Yep.
that's exactly what it is. Not being literally a slave to the disease and the work and the effort and the
All
grind
right.
of,
Yeah.
staying
Exactly.
healthy and drunk and whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Trying to get fucking well, man. Well, I mean, I've said it a million times in my life. I didn't do drugs the last 5, 6 years I was out there because it was fucking hard work and I'm lazy. Unless
Right.
unless they were handed to me on a silver platter, I didn't do them because it was way fucking easier to walk to the corner and get what I needed cheap and legally.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would have, I don't know, not loved, but having that, I was ashamed. And again, I've talked about it. There was 5 or 6 different liquor stores
Oh
between
yeah.
grocery stores and liquor stores and gas stations that I would go to
Mm-hmm.
in this whatever it was, 2-3 mile radius.
Right.
But trying to figure out again, going to the same place, and they still fucking knew me,
Oh, of course.
you know.
Right. Yeah, you're coming in every Thursday to the Stop and Shop or whatever. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And Wednesday you're going to another place, and Tuesday you're going to yeah, I mean, towards the end there, I was, the same liquor store because Ohio was fucked up and they've got state stores, but
Right.
yeah. Oh yeah, I certainly did it too. Yeah, going to different stores because we, so nobody knows.
Right.
Fucking idiots.
I know. Yeah, I know. It just again, I shake my head now, but I'm glad, that I shake my head. But the thing that is
Mhm.
too, and we talk about this all the time, is that I'm glad I don't forget yet, and I hope I never
Mhm.
do,
Right.
how much work it was. And yeah, it's one thing to, to tell a story, but to actually, and as we talk about these things, there's certain things that, I get a weird pit in my stomach, or I just remember that,
Huh?
again, the anxiety, and that's what it is. It's the anxiety of,
Mhm.
what time does it close? Can I get there in time? How much do I have? Because I never, when I hear people talk about, running out of booze, I never did that.
Mhm. Mm.
Never ran out. I mean, fucking ever.
Right.
But trying to do this math in my head, depending on what, again, if I had to work late or if I had whatever it was, depending on my
Mhm.
schedule and what time does
Right.
which store opens at, 8 o'clock in the morning so I could actually go there, grab some booze, run home and still get to work on time.
Yep.
Fucking nuts. Just
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. Goddamn slavery, man.
Oh, it is.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, just fucking terrible. Fucking terrible. So, anything else on that like stood out to you, or were those the kind of like the main points?
I think we covered it.
Okay. So going from taking to giving this thing away. How do you like that, huh?
Mhm.
Everyone?
Yeah, it was good.
That was a segue. That was a
That
segue.
was.
So yeah, and we put it off. I mean, only one week because we had guests the first part of the month, but obviously it's
Right.
the 12th month, and it's the 12th step that we're going to talk about, and again, it's a few weeks down the road and only a week or so away till the end of the month. But fuck it, it's still this is one of those steps that keeps on living every goddamn day anyhow. So
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, definitely one we've got to do on a daily basis.
right.
So, all right. Well, yes. Step number 12 of Alcoholics Anonymous. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all of our affairs.
So the spiritual awakening. Well, first of all, it's funny when I don't know if you ever heard this in meetings and stuff like that. People would emphasize the result, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just kind of like when I read step 12, it just as a result, but it does say the result. I think in
Mm-hmm.
in the step, which it is. Having that spiritual awakening. But so that's the first question. Did you feel? I don't know it either at what point going through the steps, or did you get this flash of a spiritual awakening or have that any flash moment throughout the process?
Nope.
Okay, there's step 12. We've handled
There
that.
it is. Nope, absolutely no flashes, no singing angels, no bright light, no none of that crapola.
And I didn't think
Yeah.
so, but I couldn't remember. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's slowly,
Right.
and it's still happening. Hopefully, I'm not fully spiritually awake, and I probably never will be, and that's okay.
Right.
I'm awakening. Um,
That's why we're still recovering too. We're not recovered.
That's right. That's right. None of this shit's past tense, man. None of it. Right. Yeah. It's yes. I'm still working on it, but I am certainly more spiritually awake than I was 14 years ago. That's for goddamn sure.
Right.
Yeah. I notice shit. Hell, man, I still go back and forth sometimes, out on the roads today. I had to go to several stores because I've been out of town for a week. So I had to go get some shit done. And I was like, I got to get out of here, out of the house today. I got to get out and get this stuff done before everybody else gets the fuck off of work. And it was still nuts in every goddamn store I went into. And I'm like, wasn't all that spiritual, but I was certainly trying to practice the principles.
Right.
Yeah, in all of those affairs. But yeah, I'm watching people cut each other off and getting in each other's ways, and happy fucking holidays. Baby Jesus loves you too. Uh-huh. But yes, I again, even with all of that said, I am still more spiritual than I was 14 years ago. That'll give you an idea how fucked up I was back then.
Well, and the other thing too is that, and the reason I asked that, and I was pretty sure that you didn't have a flash moment, but I couldn't remember at any point through if you did. But there was a time going through. Well, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know, it's talked about in the big book that these things happen, and we've talked about it. I know a number of times of the sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly.
Right.
These things happen, right?
Right.
So, and I sort of have complained that every fucking thing, not just in my recovery, but in my life since I've gotten sober, has happened in these sometimes slowly variety, which I get it now, but I didn't get it to begin with.
Of course.
Imagine that, right? But
right.
But I know for a fact, if I would have been given all of this stuff, even to this day, if I'm given stuff too quickly, if I don't have to work for it, I feel weird about it, And if somebody gives me a gift and they do it out of appreciation, that's a different story,
Right.
But I mean, if it's just, I don't know if, whatever it is, it just it happens. I'm like, oh, fuck, because I will take advantage of that ease in that comfort in that ease. Cause it is, it's really, really easy to get comfortable. And if I would have, again, caught on, got this thing, the whole bit, or even had that mindset to begin with,
right.
I can't say I wouldn't have stayed sober, but I think I would have had a tougher time at it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ, how many people have we seen through the years, that, they're riding that fucking pink cloud because everything's going so goddamn well for them at 2 months sober.
Right.
Yeah, they never fucking make it, man.
Right.
Because they're not earning it. They again, at 2 months sober, I still had the mindset that the world owed me, and instant gratification, and of course, because that's the way I lived my entire life up to that point, decades and decades. So yeah, I am grateful that shit takes too fucking long for me.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I was saying, and you and I get it, but we appreciate the fact that that it happens that way, because I think thankfully we know ourselves well enough to realize that
Mm.
it's, again, not a good thing for the other part. But to begin with, and I know that a lot of people had these. Well, first of all, when people always talked about their moment of clarity, and it's like, okay, I had this moment of
Mm-hmm.
clarity, and that's for everyone out there, again, non 12 step or whatever. It's usually that point where something happens where people have these, and I'm big fucking air quotes, God moments,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever they are. They get the
Mm-hmm.
voice whisper, or the thing pops up in their car. People have told us stories about these things.
Right.
It's one step short of just seeing a sign that says, "You better get sober, motherfucker,"
Mm-hmm.
and that's their sign, right?
Right.
I didn't have that.
Right.
I had I didn't have a moment of weakness. I think I felt like I had this moment of, or not moment of clarity. I feel like I had a moment of weakness,
Mm-hmm.
kind of spilled my guts, which after the fact, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, and blah, 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 whatever. And then, but then these people are talking about, especially around the third step thing, it's like, ooh, this flash. And again,
Mm-hmm.
after the fifth step, I felt relieved to get it done with,
Sure.
and it's a weight off. But people had these big moments, these light bulb flash, whatever. Fucking never
Uh-huh.
had that. But
Nah.
I do remember, being probably, I don't know, 90 months,
Mm.
90 days sober, or roughly in that
Uh-huh.
area, because we were still
Sure.
doing the walk in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the walk, and I was doing my prayers, and I'm like, when did I start doing these prayers? And then I'm like, looking back, I'm like, shit, man, I knew I made progress,
Mm-hmm.
and that was pretty fucking cool,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this one time after, I think when I got it might have been my first real job, or maybe it was at the factory. It doesn't even fucking matter. But Tom and I went someplace on a Friday night because we could,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we
Right.
went over to see one of his family members or whatever. But it was a beautiful night. It was in the summer,
Right.
windows down the whole bit. We're driving around listening to the music, and I just felt fucking free,
Yeah.
and but on top of that too, I just felt like, wow, what a difference, of where
Mm-hmm.
I was, whatever that was, 3 or 4 months prior. But those were the things that I had. I saw progress along the way, but I never had a flash, so that
Right.
whatever that spiritual awakening is supposed to be, it's like you said, I'm not fully awake yet. There's not a fucking,
Mm-mm.
fucking way I'm fully awake.
No, this definitely is not it.
if this is it, I want a refund, because I'm not perfect yet. I'm not perfect yet.
Right.
But
Right.
okay, so the spiritual awakening thing, we figure that, again, that's a growth thing, and that's still going on. And
Yeah.
then, just because I'm sure that everyone else probably forgot what you read to begin with, what's the last part of that? Practicing in all our affairs, right?
Practicing these principles in all our affairs.
Okay, so what that means, and the sad reality that we found out at the time
Mm.
was a sad reality, was, we had to act, good on the outside, not just in the rooms, right?
Mhm.
and they do mean everything. They mean, like,
Yeah.
when Mike's out running around doing his shit today, when people fucking piss you off at work, when things don't
Mhm.
go your way, it doesn't matter what it is.
Right.
Yeah, we have to be I don't want to say the better person, the bigger person, take the
Huh.
high road, do whatever it is, not beat up Jesus boy, all those different things.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, right. Incorporate these principles, man. Not and we'll go ahead and say 7 times out of 10, all it means is not doing what I really want to do.
Right.
Yeah, those 3 times, yeah, I kind of want to be a good person and do the next right thing and all that good stuff. But yeah, 7 times out of 10, I don't. I
Right.
don't want to. I want to flip the guy off. I want to run the fucking car off the road. But that's not being a good boy. That's not practicing these principles of honesty and unselfishness and purity and love. So yeah, I I take a beat and then I go, yep, this is the right thing to do, and then I do that.
Right. Well, that's speaking of gifts, I mean, that's like the biggest gift that we have now is that gift of pause,
Mm-hmm.
and I never had that. I I had and my dad was the same way. My dad had a bad temper and a quick temper, which, some
Mm-hmm.
people have one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
If you they get to that point if the switches turn, they fucking blow up,
Right.
or they just blow up at everything, and
Right.
but I mean, he was both. He was horrible and
Mm-hmm.
quick,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always that way. And I
All
don't
right.
know if it's going back to whatever it is that shit hereditary, is it learned behavior, whatever the fuck it is, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I had
Right.
it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
I've been taught to not completely have that anymore, or at least not to show it.
Mm-hmm.
not,
Right.
not to let other people see it and hear it,
Uh-huh.
because you and I have talked about it all the times, down to the simple points of, somebody, it could be a loved one. Do you want
Mm-hmm.
to? No. Would you like to? No.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to help? No. But
No.
you don't say that. You're like, yes, how may I
Yeah.
help you?
Right.
How may I help you? And in
Thank
your
you,
head, you're
sir.
like,
May I have another?
yeah. And I don't know, back to the point of, we talked about it, I probably talked about it 50 times, throwing away a paper towel that hits the floor, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to
Right.
pick that up,
Right.
or, somebody giving you too much change, whatever the fuck it is. All these
Mm-hmm.
simple things that mean nothing to the grand scheme of things mean everything to us,
Right.
because we were taught
Or
that it
even
means
fucking
something.
worse, walking into a room and seeing that paper towel laying on the floor that you had absolutely nothing to fucking do with, and picking it up and throwing it away anyway,
Oh,
because,
yep.
leave the place better than you found it.
I
Fuck you.
I've done, yeah. And I literally, seriously, I've done that countless number of times,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll wash my hands to get as much paper towel on that hand as I can and grab it,
Right.
throw it, because I'm
Right.
not touching that motherfucker. I don't know
Well,
where it's
yeah,
been,
right. Mm-hmm.
or you're going to walk into, it happens all the time. I'm sure, ladies, it happens to you too. You walk into a stall and, somebody didn't flush, whatever it is. And you're like, well,
Right.
flush, and,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. I mean, just these
I
little
know.
things,
Yeah.
I've had people, be in the urinal next to me, take a fucking leak, walk out, of course, without washing their hands, and they didn't
Mm-hmm.
flush the urinal. You reach over like, kapush.
Right.
Now, again, does that make any bit of difference to my life or anyone else's life? I don't
Uh,
know,
right.
but
Right. But it makes our little corner of the world a better place.
right, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, but and again, part of part of the 12 step that I don't know that you and I talk about a ton on here, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not just practicing these principles, but it's also, I mean, helping other people,
Right.
being ready and being available, to people in recovery. And it's not, I don't know if it's done. I think it's probably still done on a semi-regular basis, but I know it was done more in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
The 12 step calls,
Right.
somebody has trouble, a wife, a husband, a brother, sister, a family
Mm-hmm.
member calls, and,
Right.
couple of drunks go over, sober,
Mm-hmm.
alcoholics go over and help the dude out and take him
Right.
wherever, um,
Mm-hmm.
and you and I have done that a couple of times, helped out
Sure.
people,
Right.
or been involved in shit like that. But
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if maybe if we don't put ourselves in as much of a position, like a position of service, to do that all the time, or if it's just
Mm-hmm.
not done as much anymore. I don't know, but
Probably a little of both.
right,
Yeah. Right. It is not done as much. Because of the nature of things today. There's a lot more avenues for people to reach out to, and that's a good thing.
right,
But also, yeah, I think it's kind of sometimes not such a good thing. I think, yeah, the old days when, yeah, that wife would call, central office or whatever and say, my husband's a fucking mess and I need some help. And a couple of guys would go over there and just talk to the guy,
right,
not drag him to a meeting, not whatever, like, I mean, in the book talks about how to do it. You go over there and you tell them your story, basically.
right.
Um, you know, um, right. And there's, the stories are out there now, and people have podcasts now.
Everyone does.
Right. The stories are available. That's originally why they put the stories in the book, to, guys that at the time, you're out in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska or something, you get a hold of this book and read the stories, because there weren't a couple of guys who could come out to your farm and talk to you and tell their story. Yeah, it's different. Shit evolves, shit changes, get more spiritually awake. Right. And again, yes, I think there's probably pros and cons to it. Absolutely. I think it probably was more direct and more hands-on, and in that case better. But again, today there are far more places to go and more avenues to seek help, so that's good too.
Right.
I think unfortunately if you want to get sober, you've got to do a little more work, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it might be a little harder than having a couple of guys come to your house and talk to you and make that personal connection right away.
Right.
Which I don't think really happens like it used to, which is a damn shame. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's and I just know from being on Instagram and stuff
Right.
like this, and again, I mean, there's literally people talk about, it's sober Instagram, and it is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's this whole community of
Sure.
people, which is again, it was, it still is mind blowing to me, but it just about I don't know, I was awestruck by it to begin with when I first got on Instagram and just all these sober profiles. It's fucking
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It was like the first time that I went to West Park Men's or Keating Monday or something like that. And I'm like,
Right.
the fuck did all you goddamn alcoholics come from? I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
You just walk into this room and again, West Park was Keating Men's was the first one I went to, or first big
Mm-hmm.
meeting, 100 people,
Right.
I would think,
Yeah. Oh, easily. Yeah.
Yeah, and then West Park Men's, a couple hundred. I mean, probably in that
Right.
place, at least 150,
Mm-hmm.
if not two. And
Right.
again, just I wasn't. I don't know. I mean, I knew, but I
Mm-hmm.
had never been around that many sober people in one place. I was just
Right.
fucking mind blown, But anyhow, so I just know from being on there that there are a lot of people that found recovery from doing an internet search, and they're doing
Sure.
the typical thing. Do
Right.
I drink too much? Click.
Right.
Or how
Mm-hmm.
much is too much? Whatever the deal is, and they come across all
Right.
these things,
Sure.
which is cool because having all that out there. But then a lot of people, and to all their credit, have gone on social media,
Mm-hmm.
hooked into a group like that, and
Mm-hmm.
stay sober, which
Sure.
again is a miracle to me because I can't say never say never type of thing, but same reason as I don't think IOP would have worked for me. It
Right.
could have, but I
Mm-hmm.
needed what I needed, and
Mm-hmm.
having that, the only thing that kept me there, and again kept me straight for those first 9 months until my head popped out of my ass, was all you guys,
Right. Right.
and being in a safe place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to go home every night and sit in my own,
Mm.
wallow in my own
Shit.
stuff,
Yep.
it just, again, I don't wonder anymore why people relapse. I'm not saying that's the reason, but,
Mm-hmm.
community, that's the one thing that, one of the things we've heard from everyone, regardless of what path, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's on social media, people we've talked to or people we've met,
Right.
is, people aren't the people that are, successful or continue to be successful to this day, or at least through today, have done it with at least somebody or some people, a group.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, which is, again, this goddamn AA math shit that doesn't add up to me. Right. I got it. It's an inside job, as Bob used to say. We've got to do the work ourselves, all that good stuff, but we can't do it alone.
Right.
Right. Okay. So it's an internal job, but I can't do it by myself.
Right.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you got
All right, point me in the right direction. God damn it.
It's like a job application. Can you work independently and can you work as a team?
Right.
Every time I see that on one of
No.
these job applications, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, change your
Mhm.
format. I mean, my
Right.
God. But so last question on that. And speaking of, since we're talking about these 12-step calls, did
Uh,
you ever go on one or have to go pick somebody up?
I mean, not in the traditional sense, no. No. Definitely Definitely like met people at meetings and stuff and kind of, took them aside with other people and, we'd talk and whatever, which was kind of that. But
Right.
actually going into someone's house like they used to do it, nah, I've never done that.
Yeah, and it wasn't really to go there and talk to him. It was to go to pick him up to take him back to the Keating Center.
Yeah, I know. Right.
I had to go pick up Daryl.
Right.
And that was, I mean, I was fucking scared,
Mm-hmm.
because it was a fucking shit ass flea bag motel that
Right.
he had popped himself into, and
Mm-hmm.
it was one of those things where, and again, you want to talk about, hey, can you? Fuck no, I can't, man. I don't want to. I got to work, But it happened to be that it was one of those. I was working late nights, and it was one of those
Right.
days. It was like a Wednesday or a Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and I was the only one in the 3/4 house between like you, me, Mike Rowley, Frankie. It's
Right.
like 4 of us that were
Right.
tasked with going to get Daryl.
Right.
I was the only one that could do it. I didn't fucking want to do it, because
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I just didn't want to. But secondly, I'll be honest, I was fucking scared,
Right.
because Daryl's he was a,
Exactly. He swung one of the fucking hams at your
Oh.
head, man.
yeah, and he was what, 6'4", probably.
Yeah, right.
And I'm
And probably 250 and
there. You
right
go.
and
Yep.
not real fat.
No, and I'm 6'1", so I'm not short, but I'm a fucking twig compared to Daryl. He would have
Right.
fucking beat the hell out of me. And
Right.
I saw his temper when he was sober. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this motherfucker drunk,
Right.
But it was like, I forget who was in touch with him. I think it was Frankie. And I said, okay, here's the deal though. You tell him I'm going to be there at this time. He has to be ready because I got to get him to the Keating Center and I got to go to work. And
Right.
I said, you tell him I will get him, but I'm not fucking sacrificing my job for his ass,
Right.
And that was a fair statement to make to him, because he was this, all this back and forth, this in and out stuff. He needed a little bit of that from all of us,
Oh yeah.
But so I get there and I walked into the hotel room. And
Motel.
again, oh yeah, I apologize. Take it back. It was an M hotel.
That's right.
Definitely. But I mean, the place wasn't like filthy or anything. It wasn't trash, but I mean, he smelled like booze. He looked like shit. And
Sure.
he's shaking like a fucking leaf. And,
Yep.
I get him in the car and he's talking this and that. And, we had a decent heart to heart type of talk. Cause I mean, Daryl was a good dude. I mean, we all loved him,
Sure. Of course.
And then, it's kind of like, dude, you got to get your shit straight, man. What are you going to do? This and that. And then he's talking about, he's like, wait, where are you going? He's like, I got to go back to the 3/4 house, man. And I'm like, no, you don't. He's like, what? I said, nope. Marty said you're going to the Keating Center. And he's like, what? I said, Marty told me that. I'm like, I'm not taking you to the 3/4 house.
Right.
I have to get him. No, you don't. we're going to the Keating Center.
Yep.
And we did, and it was, and again, at that part, he got there and whatever, and his story didn't end well, but that particular day it did. But man, I was scared. I was scared as fuck to go there.
Yeah.
Then it was just nerve wracking.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
but
again, you got his ass through another 24 hours, which is all any of us can do.
And it wasn't like I said, to begin with, of not wanting to go. It wasn't because we didn't care about him, because we did. And again, we talked about that before. What a great example. I mean, fear is the background of everything.
Yep.
And I was fucking scared. Just fucking scared. So, all right. So what else? Anything else on step 12? I mean, it's again, we have to do that every day though, right? Is that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's, that's a, hell, nobody argues that 10, 11, and 12 need to be done on a daily basis. There's plenty of motherfuckers out there that will argue about 1, 2, and 3 and 6 and 7. And I did those, blah, 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 blah. 9. Oh, I finished my amends. Good for you, asshole. Right. But nobody argues about 10, 11, and 12. That shit we got to keep doing all the time. And 12, absolutely. We've got to carry the message. We've got to improve our spirituality, and we've got to fucking practice this shit. Thankfully, they say we don't have to do these principles, act out these principles perfectly in every way, every day. We have to practice these principles in all of our affairs.
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. I guess I never. I'm glad you brought that up, because I never specifically thought about that word in there. But that's like the when we were wrong thing, step 10. It's not saying we might be wrong when we're wrong, and then it says practice. Oh, well, that makes me feel a little bit better, actually. You know what? That's no, seriously. That just almost like kind of like a ooh, ooh, I feel a little bit better now. I like that. All All right. So if we're good on that, then what do you say? Good time to
Yeah,
take a little break?
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we've covered all this stuff. So now we're going to hear a word from our sponsor and be right back.
Hey everyone, it's your friends at Sober Not Mature.
Hi
And
there.
yes, it's both of your friends this time. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Bill?
I am doing well, but we do have a purpose. We actually usually talk about our one website, but we actually have two websites now. So we wanted two websites in one. All right, so everyone knows we still have the podcast website that is www.SoberNotMature.com, and we just launched the store website, so we also have that. Do you know what the website address is on that one, Mike?
Of course I don't.
It's pretty easy, Mike. It's www.SoberNotMatureShop.com.
Ah.
But from the podcast website, you can still hit the store link and get into the web store, or you can access it from our Instagram page through the highlights. We've been posting quite a bit about it, and we'll continue to do that. But do you know what's on the second website, Mike?
Well, there's a store. There are products that you can purchase for you and your loved ones.
Well, Mike, do we still have merchandise?
We have merchandise. Well, we got T-shirts and coffee mugs and all kinds of crap.
And one of the coolest parts, we also do have all the recovery books from Hazelden, which is kind of a big deal.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, at least for us. So all the books that we read, God Grant Me, 24 Hours, the Big Book, the 12 and 12, all of those books are available for sale on our website. And again, that store website is www.sober.
Trying to help, man.
I know you are. You're not helping, though. Okay, now I got to say www.SoberNotMatureShop.com. .com. Visit that today, or visit the podcast website, which is, again, the podcast website. So
www.SoberNotMature.com.
Did you just say sober but not mature?
Yeah, sure. Write that down.
Yeah, like fucking mush mouth or something. All right, everyone. You've suffered enough with this, and we'll get back to what we were talking about previously. So visit the websites, though. All right, everyone. Welcome back. And
Told you.
Truly. I think I feel more spiritually fit after all that,
All right. Yeah, me too.
But I mean, I joke about that a little bit, but yeah, these little fucking moments, like, again, practice. I'm like, wow. Ooh. Yeah. Which again, I know all these things, but I don't know. I don't know if that seems stupid to people, but just something as little like that. I'm like, God damn, I like that. Fucking practice. I'm gonna get better at this,
man.
Yeah, just practicing.
That's how you get better at stuff. You practice.
Right. All right. So now I've got like three different things I wanna kind of mention. I want to talk a little bit about some of our, like, I don't know, play stats, listeners, that sort of thing. That's going to be a brief thing. But the first thing is, so we had a person on episode 35. Her name is Christine. She's a good friend of ours. If you are on Instagram, she goes by Sober as a Mother. She is celebrating 13 years sober today. So,
yay.
Yeah, congratulations. And the only reason, I mean, I didn't remember right away. It's like a lot of times I'll put these things in my calendar, some of these good friends of ours, but for whatever reason I didn't. But she had mentioned something like a week or so ago in one post that it was coming up. So yeah, I sent her a text this morning and then put a post on Instagram. And but yeah, I mean, first of all, she's a good shit. She does a lot for the sober community, does a lot for specifically the women, in the sober community. It just, she's a friend. She helped us out a lot with Instagram and some ideas on the podcast and things like that. She has been in our corner from the start when we started doing this a couple years ago. So, yeah, and 13 years sober today. So I was super happy with that. But episode 35, if anyone wants to hear her story, she I posted the clip. The clip I posted today was like the last clip of the week from when we were running it, and she had said she's like, it's the first podcast that she'd ever been on,
Mm-hmm.
and just didn't feel comfortable getting out and talking about stuff. But yeah, she got really
Right.
deep and told her entire story. So it
Mm-hmm.
was a good episode. So once again, episode 35. So go back, everyone, follow her. Sober as a Mother. Go take a look, take a listen to the episode. And
Yeah.
then we had Carly and Breeze on back on
Mm-hmm.
episode 83. And
Right.
if you listen to the end of each one of our podcasts now with the whole beats and the mics out and the fuck off thing, Breeze is the one that did that audio or the music for
Mm-hmm.
us and that. So we thank her again. But Carly is putting out her, and she talked about it when she was on the episode, but
Mm-hmm.
she's starting to promote her book. She's getting the audio book together, and I
Cool.
told her I saw the post, and I told her that we would mention it on here if she sent me a little
Mm-hmm.
write up. So I'm going to read what she sent to me. Okay.
Nice.
So they're in the group that they put together is called Trust Your Message. So Trust Your Message is a brand founded by Carly Reed and Breeze. Our mission is to cultivate community and destigmatize addiction through the power of shared stories and connection. Taking Carly's written poetry during her recovery journey, she published her first book called Human Behind the Mask, which is a deeply personal memoir of spiritual growth and recovery, offering hope and inspiration to those struggling with addiction, body dysmorphia, and or mental health. Together, Carly and Breeze are working on an audiobook, which will be released mid-February. Carly has narrated her own poems, and Breeze has produced the music that fits the theme of each poem. So it'll be a really neat combination of read poetry and coordinating music. So once again, Carly and Breeze, they were on with us for episode 83. Fun story
Mm-hmm.
because of how
Definitely.
they met. Because yeah, Breeze is a drummer, and Carly kind of was super drunk and got up on stage, and that's how they met, and
Mm-hmm.
all these different things. But I did tell Carly that that once the book is released, that to let us know the audio book. But they're out there.
Yeah,
The two of
definitely.
them, they're young and they're active and they're out there trying to do things. They're out there doing 12-step work, I guess is
Yeah,
the best way to
exactly. I
put
was
it.
just gonna say that. Yep, out there
Yeah.
12 stepping.
Exactly. So I'll put a note in our if you're listening to this, it should already be there, but I'll have Christine's Instagram information on there, plus Carly and Breeze, and thank both of them, obviously for being on our podcast. But
Mm-hmm.
Christine, yes, and Carly and Breeze, but also thanks to Breeze again for putting together that little musical thing for us, because that makes me laugh every time. It makes me laugh. It makes me smile. It makes me happy. It's fucking great.
Makes me
So.
shake my ass.
Yeah, and that's that's a little bit of a challenge there. You got a 50, almost 57-year-old man over there shaking that
That's
bearded
right.
ass. Wait, beard? No,
Mm-hmm.
your ass isn't bearded. Is
No, my
it?
ass isn't bearded. No, it's pretty
Okay.
damn smooth, actually.
All right, so on to that. But no, so this next one was just kind of and when I look at our podcast or Spotify for podcasters thing, which used to be Anchor, and
Mm-hmm.
I look at our stats mainly from the audience standpoint, because I'm just curious how our audience ebbs and flows when it comes
Sure.
to the podcast. Our Instagram is still primarily female, 60-some% female. The
All
age group,
right.
yeah, on Instagram. Imagine, and you see all this shit that I post, all the
I know.
memes.
I see most of it. Yep.
I know, yeah, it's all these fucking women that are liking all this stuff, which is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
with this thing, we're losing the battle with the women on the podcast, though, because 70% of our listeners now are men. Okay.
Wow.
But here's the other interesting thing, and this just happened over the last probably month,
Mm-hmm.
is we've got 30% of our listeners now are aged 28 to 34. Is that
Wow.
weird?
That
Yeah.
is.
Now, again, 70% are male, but we're getting that younger audience now. We still have probably the 40% is still in, that 45 to 59 group, old fucks like us.
Right.
But
Exactly.
but then, we're still getting that, that, I don't know, whatever it is, the 23 to, whatever range also. But anyhow, it's just, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. But the other thing too is I think that and it maybe I don't know if it was last week's episode when we were talking about or whatever the deal is. We've had over 300 individual plays on all of our episodes in the last 7 days, which that usually doesn't happen, So,
Right.
And it's not just on the new episode. I mean, we're doing average as we always do on the new episode of the last week's. So I think we've got a new group of listeners coming in, so it's kind of cool.
Cool.
So yeah,
Nice.
but the only thing is, we got to figure out. I mean, what do women want? Do we talk about vibrators more, dildos? I don't know. I mean,
if we truly knew what women wanted, we wouldn't be sitting here on a Friday night doing a podcast.
Yeah, that's a good goddamn point. Okay, so all right, so then our normal default is, gentlemen, for all you fucking dudes out there to listening, and welcome. Don't get us wrong. We're happy to have you, but
right.
You got to have there's got to be at least one female that everyone knows. Tell them about it. Get them over here. Sit down and have no. Don't sit down with them, because then we won't get the credit for the additional play. So no, tell them they can go listen with their ladies.
That's right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just for a while there, it was a pretty even split for a long time. But yeah, now somehow, however it happened, we brought the dudes back in. So
all right, welcome, fellas.
Yeah, good to. I mean, seriously though, anyone who is new or new-ish to this, we fuck around a lot with stuff like this, but we do appreciate it. And we're we've said it to everyone for almost 2 years now that we're having fun. We're still having fun. We don't plan on going away. So again, this is it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, it's
no. This is fucking it.
Yes, we've had some episodes that have done really well and some great guests like Dr. Sarah.
Right.
Did you see that I posted that, like, the top 5 most played episodes last year?
I missed that one.
So Dr. Sarah was number 1, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
One of our episodes when I was in Cleveland, the one with you had the guy in the dog pound was the picture on there.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember. I didn't even know what we fucking talked about, but that was like episode 50. But Tony made it, Megan made it, and Nicole from Canada, and then Dr. Sarah in one of our episodes. Those were our top 5. But yeah, Dr. Sarah was our number 1, which I was thinking about that. It'd be fun to have her back on.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that was a great episode. I mean, it really was. She was a lot of fun to talk to. So. But okay, yeah. So that's it. That's it on the episodes and lists and all that sort of things. But one thing I did write down, though, since we're going into the Christmas holiday, and I know it's something we always do. Do you want to take just a minute and do your little quick? It's a holiday. Your sober talk, because I think it's important.
Yeah, we could do it real quick. Absolutely. Because I'm sick of fucking doing it.
I know, it's that time of year.
Number 1. Your sobriety comes first. Who cares what fucking day it is? Doesn't matter. Your sobriety comes first. You got to go into situations that are making you uncomfortable. Have an escape plan. Have a way to get the fuck out of there. Again, it's just another damn day. I personally am not doing anything this year. I don't care. I'm going to lay around. I'm going to eat food. I'm going to probably watch A Christmas Story and maybe Elf. And hopefully I can find The Thin Man, because that's my favorite fucking Christmas movie. And, no plans, no pressure. No, it's just another day, and it's a paid day off for me. That's what I'm grateful for. But have an escape plan. It's not a big deal. If you're early in recovery, you know what, man? Stay sober this year, so next year you can actually be truly sober and do something for somebody else. If you're not ready to do it yet, don't fucking do it. It doesn't matter. It really, really doesn't, man. It's another day of the year. Don't put the pressure on yourself. It's 24 hours, just like today is 24 hours, to stay sober. After that, nothing else fucking matters.
Right. So yeah. And it is. I mean, I know it's simple and to the point and it's repetitive, but I don't know, just little things like that, just how we are, quote unquote, we are as people. And I just think it's always good to do that sort of thing. But so cool. And then did you see the whole Matthew Perry thing, the update on it?
No.
Okay.
I haven't. I've been on vacation, man. I don't fucking care.
It was, you know what? And I saw it come up on an article. So I figured we just kind of wrap it up since we had talked about it. So
sure.
Matthew Perry's cause of death
Mm-hmm.
died due to acute effects of ketamine,
Mm.
according to the autopsy report. Now, he was doing, and it mentioned it in here, that he was doing infusions for it. And they said that
Sticking it up
sometimes
his
that,
ass.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think that from what I remember, and I think he talked about it in his book. It
Yeah.
was it was something like infusions for it at basically to, I don't know if it's for a pain or whatever it was. Maybe there's that
Mm.
whole bowel thing that was going on. But
Mm.
basically, what they're saying is that he had the last infusion number of days or whatever prior to that. So there's no way that it would have been. It could have only stayed in his life for 3 to 4 hours or something like that. So
Mm.
whatever the amount that was in his system was, clearly he was taking it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it said at the high levels of ketamine found in his postmortem blood specimens, the main lethal effects would be for both cardiovascular overstimulation and respiratory depression. Drowning
Mm.
contributes due to the likelihood of submersion in the pool as he lapsed into unconsciousness. Okay, so kind of what we said. Not, I
Right.
mean, we didn't. Not, I don't want to sit there and say, well, we called it, but you know what I mean.
Mm.
We didn't know what the substance might be, but
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like, yeah, he taking ketamine recreationally and took too much and faded out and he fucking drowned.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean and again, the biggest thing and the only reason I wanted to bring that up again is because of the everything we talk about. It's not about saying that we figured it might be something like that, blah blah blah,
Mm.
because that's not really the case. It's a
Right.
matter of no bad examples.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. And one fucking day at a time, man. What you did yesterday does not count for today.
Right.
Oh.
And like you said, I mean, these sort of things. I mean, you figure that in the one thing that he's an example of is that everyone's like, well, this happened to me, and I was here, and I was there. He went through a lot of shit, no doubt, but he had the
Mm-hmm.
money, the people around him, all these different things, the knowledge, everything like that. It still didn't, click for him, or he
Right.
didn't stay on the path. So none of that
He
matters. His money
didn't do
didn't
the
matter.
work.
Yeah, he didn't do the work. And
Yep.
then, what happened to him in that hot tub could have happened any one of us,
Oh yeah.
drunk,
Right.
high, stoned, whatever the fuck it is, nodding off
Mm-hmm.
and drowning in a fucking hot tub. So,
Yep.
none of us are immune, I guess would be the right way to put
Absolutely
it.
not. Daily reprieve contingent upon the maintenance of our spiritual condition.
Aha, the maintenance. Let me write that word down. Maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard that someplace before.
Yeah,
I've heard
me
that
too.
someplace
Once or
before.
twice. Read it
So
somewhere.
I know, yeah, once or twice or 17,000 times, which I thought was kind of funny. But
Yep.
it's in the next thing I had written down underneath was a thing about podcasts. Podcasts giving disclosures that they are not medical professionals or
Mm.
this is not medical advice. So I know you laughed at it because and I was laughing
I am
too.
not
I mean,
a doctor, and I did not stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night.
right. So I wrote that down because I heard that on a podcast where it was just at the beginning of it. Oh, just so even though we talk about this, that, and the other thing, this doesn't take the place of medical advice or whatever the case is. And, people
Right.
that talk about, we don't represent a 12-step program and all those sort of things.
Uh-huh.
All the, and again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe do I put too much faith or do we put too much faith in people that, does anyone think that we're fucking doctors? I mean,
if they do, take your thumb. This is a doctor speaking. Take your thumb, lick it, and shove it up your ass.
Right.
Doctor's orders.
Dr. J. Michael Ross.
That's me.
Esquire. No, that's an attorney. But the same thing too when and I get it. People don't want to get fucked with by other people, but saying that we're we talked to Matt about that, because Matt kind of puts a little bit of disclosure in front of the Sober Friends podcast, and he said, well, he just wanted to make it clear and stuff, and I'm like, I get that,
sure,
but and theirs is kind of mild, he kind of makes a joke about it. He said that we don't represent any 12-step group, but we do try to remain anonymous, which I think is kind of fun. He throws it out there in a fun way,
right.
But I mean, there's just some people that in the one podcast that I first started listening to well, a little over 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I think it was at the end. I mean, she went through this whole thing. I'm not this. This is not a sanction. This is not this. This is not that. I'm just like, really? I mean, I
Mm,
I didn't think it was.
right.
I'm like, okay. Well, let me. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for the news flash, Cronkite.
Right. Yeah. It just. I don't know. I don't ever want to get to that point where we have to. But
Mm,
fucking warning labels and this coffee's hot and all those sort of things. And I get it. All those things are there because somebody fucking sued somebody over something.
right.
And
Exactly.
yeah,
Don't
I
lick
don't
your
know.
toaster.
Right. There was that's just not the licking the toaster part, but the so years ago when I was doing like training and consulting on my
Hmm.
own, and I know I told you about that, but it was before Dawn and I split. And this group that I had the name of the company, it was the same type of thing as I've set it up as an LLC and whatever. And my tagline was your success is our responsibility,
Uh-huh.
which I thought was kind of catchy and stuff like that. That I had this one guy email me just out of the fucking blue. Um, and he said, so if I hire you or if you do training for me or whatever and I don't succeed, are you
Hmm.
going to take personal and financial responsibility for it? And I mean, again, this is pre, realizing that I shouldn't say. So I don't know what I said to him, but I don't think I
Right.
held back. But I'm
Right.
like, are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
I'm sure I didn't swear at him, but I'm like,
Uh-huh.
it's a fucking tagline. You
Right.
know,
It's a
I'm
catchy
like,
little
really?
saying. Settle down.
Right. And
Right.
I thought it was fun, I mean, up there I'm doing the work for you,
Mm-hmm.
it's my responsibility to try to what should I put that I'm trying to make you be smart? What the fuck?
And by the way, your failure is not my responsibility.
Right.
Your
Fuck
failure
you.
is all on you, you fucking loser.
Yeah. And then it's fuck you, pay me.
That's right. Get your shine box, boy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Just that was just kind of funny that was right under the Matthew Perry thing that I had on there. But anyhow,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah. Okay. So just in case anyone's wondering, we're not fucking doctors.
We're
I
not
I
doctors.
post I posted a meme about that a few months ago. It just said I'm not a gynecologist, but I'll take a look.
Right. Exactly.
And I, ladies, I hold the same opinion to this day. I'm
Hmm.
not a gynecologist. More than happy to take a look.
Sure. I'm not a
Okay.
proctologist and you're on your own.
Exactly. All right. Enough of that one. So this was actually in Keep It Simple. It says one of the readings said that Shakespeare wrote the phrase that's on our coins,
Mm,
to thine own self be true. Did you know
right.
that was Shakespeare?
I did.
Did you? Fuck, I
Hmm.
didn't know that. When I read that, I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, those
I
fucking
had
bills, man, laying down the wisdom. Not you.
right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I was about to say, nah, fuck it. I'm not even
Yeah.
gonna beg for any of that. No, I get it. I get it. I don't. But no, seriously, I had no idea. I had no fucking idea.
Hmm. Couldn't tell you what play it's from, but I knew it was him.
Well, and that's the thing. So in high school, I didn't like Shakespeare sometimes because it was a little, I mean, clearly a little bit hard to.
Hmm.
It's not a casual read,
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Um, but I mean, parts of it were kind of interesting.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, if you really take a step back and take a look at some of the stuff, they were interesting. Stories and books and all that stuff. Just not the easiest things to read and to
Sure.
comprehend. And
Yeah, well, the language
um,
is different, but yeah, the,
right.
the, the truths were the same. Right. Truth is the truth. And yeah, absolutely. Life experience and all that stuff. Yeah, the language has been different, but we're all humans. We're all doing the same shit we were doing back then.
Right.
It all
Yeah, it's just
applies.
yeah, and it's funny when you said truths.
Uh
The truths. I can't even say that truths.
huh.
But no, I didn't know if you knew that, and again I have no idea why I've never heard that. And again, not that I read a ton, of Shakespeare,
Right.
but you think you'd run across it every once in a while, but I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just fucking weird thing.
I know.
So
Well, hell, you brought it up. Yes, to thine own self be true. Um, I understand what they're saying about it, and I get it, but quite frankly, I don't want to be completely true to myself, because my true self is a liar, a cheat, and a thief, and a drunk and a junkie. And I got to be real careful with that one. I was actually thinking about that not too long ago, and it was like, yes, I understand what they mean. I understand we need to be ourselves and all that stuff. And by working the program, we uncover who we truly should be. But my true self is kind of a piece of shit. So um, I gotta remember that. Yes, I understand what they're saying, but I can't lean on it too heavily, because I will be a piece of shit asshole that I am, and it's not what I want to be. I want to practice those principles in all of my affairs.
Right.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up, because I've never thought anything into that saying whatsoever. I've
Mm-hmm.
had zero. I've read it. It's on my coins.
Right.
I know the saying. I've never given it even a second thought about
Mm.
what it means, what the background is, or anything like that. So seriously, I mean, it's a good point, because
Mm.
really and like we were talking about, like when the last week's episode, I think it was, when we were talking about following people and following the path
Mm-hmm.
and looking up to people, the whole
Mm-hmm.
pedestal thing.
Right.
And, figuring that, with that is just, again, we're following this guideline and all these
Mm-hmm.
different things, but, we can only do so much and only follow along. We are what we are type of thing.
Right.
And the point to that whole thing was when people fall or when people fail, it's just kind of what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a sad way to look at it, but to your point, again, to thine own self be true. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Wait,
Yep.
where's my coins? I'm gonna start scratching that off my coins.
Right. Be true to the self that you should be, not be true to the self that you are.
Right.
Which again is the spiritual awakening and the growth and all that stuff, right? Because the person that I was and the person that I am are different, and I'm grateful for that. And yes, my true self isn't all that great. That's why I need this program.
Right.
Yep.
No, but again, I just had two fucking light bulb moments in this. I mean, Jesus Christ, practicing. I get to practice. I don't have to be
Uh-huh.
perfect in all my affairs, and
Right.
now that I don't really want to be, because I know I don't, to my own self, I don't really want to completely true, because
Uh-uh.
goddamn.
Uh-huh.
No, but again, I say that jokingly, but I
I know.
literally, I never gave that phrase any thought beyond just to thine own self. It was there,
Right.
fucking words on it. It was words on a coin, and it was words
Right.
on a piece of paper here. No
Mm-hmm.
other thought. So see, okay, everyone. That's why we get together on this.
That's right.
That's why we do what we do.
That's right.
This is a kind of quality.
It's kind of spontaneous. Yeah, it's been a jerk week. You saw my snail thing, right?
No. Was that on
Ye-
Facebook?
Oh yeah, with Chris. We were on vacation, and the last restaurant we ate at,
Oh yeah. Okay.
was the French restaurant, and she ordered escargot as an appetizer. And
Right.
yes, so I took a picture of her looking up, and I said, "Don't look down. You have snails on your plate." Right. And I called the waiter over, informed him that there were snails on her plate, and made him bring those grilled cheese appetizers that he talked me out of.
Yeah, I did see that. When you said snails, I'm like, I thought you posted something today, and I haven't been on Facebook since this morning.
Nah, I
So,
haven't done shit
but no,
today. I've been dodging Santa's elves.
but yeah, I mean, I saw the French restaurant. So anything else? I mean, that actually looked like, it reminded me of, because my son-in-law, Brian, is a
Mm-hmm.
chef and all that stuff.
Right.
And the presentation is a big
Mm-hmm.
deal to him, because
Sure.
he's a chef. He's not just a cook. He's a chef.
Right.
So
He's an
he does shit
artiste.
like that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's really fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
He could make you a grilled cheese something, and it would look fucking beautiful and be
Right.
delicious.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But that's what it reminded me of, because again, presentation is all of it. But
Uh-huh.
anything else? I mean, from the vacation, I meant to ask you that right off the bat, but
Yeah.
any other just the exam, just kicking back, hanging out while you were there?
Yeah, no, that was it. It was lovely as always, and we'll be going back next year.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, because I just didn't know. I mean, if I hadn't had a chance, obviously, to talk to you since then, but yeah, that actually looked. I mean, the restaurant looked nice, so
hmm
that's cool.
yeah, food's great down
Fucking
there. It's another reason we go. Yep.
right.
You know.
I couldn't imagine eating fucking snails. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they'd be
Yeah.
wonderful, but no, thank
Yeah.
you.
I don't do any sort of insects. I don't do shrimp. I don't do crab. I don't do lobster. No insects.
Right.
Thank you. Nothing with an exoskeleton. Nope.
Right, right. But okay, so in this, I know we've talked about this before, but I thought this, just looking at the time, this might be a good one to get close to wrapping up on. I
Okay.
was listening to, as always, another podcast, and they were
Mm-hmm.
talking about comparing themselves or comparing to others and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just in a general conversation, but I know that was a big deal, especially when we first got sober. So I just thought it'd be interesting because I don't know that we've talked about it specifically, but I just thought it might be a good thing to kind of go over, especially if somebody's listening to us that's new,
Mm-hmm.
the whole comparison thing, especially when we're new. So when you let's I don't know, take whether it's this time or when you got sober the last time, did you do that? Did you compare yourself, or what was your experience with comparing at that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't get sober before. I stayed dry for small periods of time, but yes, and when I did that, yes, of course I compared myself all the fucking time. Um yeah, I'm not that bad. Oh, I'm better than them. Oh, I'm worse than them. It's burning calories on nothing, man. Um the beautiful thing about this whole thing is we're exactly the same, you know. No, I haven't been to prison. I've been to jail. I haven't killed anybody with a car. Didn't have a DUI. There's lots of things I haven't done yet.
Right.
um but so what? That doesn't mean anything. There are people that weren't homeless. I was. There were people that, maintained their jobs and their families and whatever. I didn't. Uh, but the bottom line is, we were all of us, anyone who is an alcoholic and a drug addict, all of us were slaves. All of us had no choice when it came to the substance that we used. If it was just one, or it was all of them, or a specific few, or whatever. Um, it doesn't matter. Comparing yourself, hell, I didn't use a needle until I was 30 years old. But then I did.
Right.
You know, right. And then I did a lot. Uh, right. It doesn't, yeah. Comparing yourself again is just burning calories for nothing, man. Wasting time, wasting energy. We're the same, which means that the solution is the same. Yeah. Don't compare yourself. I'm not as bad as him. I'm worse than him. No, you're exactly the same as him or her or whatever. Doesn't matter. We're exactly the same, which means that the solution is exactly the same, which I know is going to piss some people off. But listen to the people that we've had on guests on this little tiny corner of the world, the internet, whatever the fuck this is. We've had people on that did not go through AA or NA. They did not do a 12-step program, but they did the same shit we did, just in a slightly different way. They got people around them. They became a part of a community. They changed their behaviors. It's the same. It's exactly the same. And now
Right.
I'm done.
Yeah, and Nico was a great example of that because as we were listening to his story, and that was just a few episodes ago,
Right.
both, and I knew you were hearing the same thing as I was. I was hearing, even though he was not, if I remember, he might have went to one AA meeting. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Just it wasn't his deal.
Right.
But then this everything he was talking about, I'm hearing the steps, but in this whole different thing that he did,
Right.
and not necessarily listed as steps, but yeah.
Right.
But the comparing thing,
got
when
a mentor, instead of a sponsor, and right, and he did he worked a fucking program. It just had different words to it, but it was the same fucking action.
Right. Yeah, which is stuff like that still, I mean, is really cool to me. Realizing that, again, we're all on the same this 72 lane highway,
Right.
and some of us are going at different speeds, and but in maybe around a different curve, but we're all ending up in the same destination, or at least
Yep.
heading towards
Yep.
the same destination. But the comparing ourselves to, and I know you brought that up the one time, because I always looked at it as like when I came in, I mean, I didn't think I thought that I didn't belong,
Right. Oh, you're
and I
way
thought I
better
was
than us.
right. I mean, but again, I mean, and I could say that openly now because it's so fucking
Of
ridiculous,
course.
But the other thing, and you had mentioned that, not saying that you were worse, and I never thought about it that way.
Oh yeah.
That people can compare themselves out of the room at that
Oh
extreme
yeah.
too.
Right.
I'm too far gone. I
Yeah.
can't. This is not going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, literally, the day that I got to the Keating Center, man, I'm like, telling Mom and Kathy, I'm like, "You're a fucking homeless place. I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get beat up. I'm going to get robbed."
Right. It's a bunch of convicts and fucking street people. Yep.
And it was,
Of course.
but it didn't fucking matter.
Of course not.
But it's, and then, again, all realizing that and finding out, thankfully, finding out quickly too, that all these guys, that I thought wanted to hurt me had nothing in mind but to help me,
Right.
And that happened that first night, because even though that everyone was jumping around like, fucking wild animals,
Uh-huh.
that night, Dominic and Josh, both of them literally came up and they're like, "Come on, let's go grab your bags, man." And,
Right.
kind of put their arms around me like, "Hey, it's okay, man. Come on." And
Yep.
they were two of the ones who were going fucking nuts out there too, but they
Yeah.
saw
Mhm.
they saw what was going on.
Right.
And I was ready to fucking run, And then, any of those guys, I mean, those two guys that I mentioned sadly are not around anymore, but any of the other guys, all the guys we know now, all the men and women that we know now, we would do anything for, and they would do anything for us,
Right.
And we all came from so many different backgrounds and directions, and it's just so fucking beautiful. But the key there is that, that they used to always tell us, look for the similarities and not the differences,
Yep.
And stick around long enough till you hear your story.
Yep.
And, so even if you don't want to think in terms of, everyone says, stay till the miracle happens. I understand what that means, and so do you.
Yeah.
But if somebody doesn't really want to go to this miracle thing, just stick around long enough until you hear your story, because you will.
Yeah.
It's
stick around, do the work until you get the result.
Right.
Is really the best way to put it. Fuck the miracle. Do the goddamn work that's laid out for you, and you will get the result. Hi, Tony.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Fuck the miracle. I love that one. That might be my new saying. Fuck the miracle. Fuck you and your miracle.
That's right. I've been saying that for 13 and a half years. Fuck you and your miracles, man. I'm going to do the goddamn work and get the results.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly what the point is that all these sayings and stuff like this are wonderful, and I get it. I still think some of them are cheesy, but I mean I live by a lot of them. But but yeah, it's just sticking around. I mean, just don't go away. I say this all the time. Everyone says keep coming back. I'm like, fuck that. Just stay. Keep coming back. Stick around. Stay. Fucking stay. Stay long enough. Sooner or later, that head's going to pop out of your ass, and you're going to be able to. What did you say? Hear everyone or hear other people?
See other people. Right.
Well, see other people.
When your head's up your ass, you look in every direction, and all you can see is yourself.
Right.
Your head's up your ass.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. But yeah, so that was just it. It was just one of those things that I knew we had talked about, but I thought it was kind of important because I know that I was I was really fucking guilty of trying to compare myself. You fucking people aren't me. Yeah, yeah, you are.
Yeah,
yes, I am.
Yes, I am. And yes, you are me. Right.
Yeah, it's still the funniest thing in the world is the fact that you and I became so close is because we are people could, if people want to really see what, don't compare yourself, just look at us. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
Just walk in as if you walked into a meeting and you saw me and you saw Mike, and I don't care what part of the aisle you're on. You're on Mike's side of the aisle, and you're like, oh, he's friends with that fucking dork. And then you're on my side of the aisle, and you're like, you're friends with that fucking badass looking piece of shit. Yep. And you know what? we're the same.
Yep.
What?
Exactly the same.
Doesn't make any fucking sense, but hey, you know what? None of this shit makes sense, and it doesn't
Not
fucking
much.
matter anyhow. All right. Well, I know I got probably other little things on here, but I believe that, yeah, I think we're good. How about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, okay. Let's
We'll do
run
all
the
this
fuck
shit
out of here
again
then.
next week.
Right. So your turn there, brother.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Sober Not Mature. As always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, do something nice for somebody else this week, and don't tell anybody about it. And as always, it is that time, kids. It is now time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off till you get to a gate with a sign on it saying, you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
Yes, what he said. And you know what? Last thing, so the same thing as we were kind of going on with last week is just, hey, share this shit with somebody, okay?
Yeah.
Give us a review.
Yep.
What do you say? Like, subscribe, and share. That's what all
That's
you got to
it.
do.
Yep.
Yeah. If you even halfway like what we're doing, fucking tell somebody about it. Fucking share it. Fucking give us some stars, 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Say some nice things about us. That's all you got to do.
That's
We're
it.
not asking. It doesn't cost you a goddamn thing except for a couple minutes of your time.
That's
So there.
right.
So, and Merry fucking Christmas.
Yeah, filthy fucking animals.
Yeah, filthy fucking leave it on the stairs. Get out of here. All right, man. I love you, brother. Seriously,
love you
everyone
too.
have a wonderful, safe, happy holiday weekend. And
Yep.
don't get stupid. Just have fun, have clean fun, and
Yep.
sober fun. All right.
24 hours, man, and then it'll be Boxing Day, and you'll be fucking done with this nonsense.
Right. All right. I love you, brother.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. And now it is time for you to fuck off. Then keep fucking off. Keep fucking off until you get to a gate with a sign on it saying you cannot fuck off past here. Climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.